Living hand.
Hand to mouth. Yep. So you could say living from hand to mouth or living hand to mouth. Both are okay. In the US, we say living hand to mouth. Or another way to say it would be like, scraping by. You know, scrape, right? Like, you get a scrape, right?
Scrape.
If you fall and you like, get like we call it either a raspberry or a scrape. Or like, if you fall off your scooter and the road. So scraping by, like you're scraping by, like you just have money, just enough money just to get by. So.
Scraping is same as chopping.
Chafing.
Chopping.
Chafing's a little different. So chafing is caused by, chafing is caused typically by skin rubbing on skin. So it's a type of scraping, but it's different. They call it chafing because like, if like you're like, so marathon runners, right? People that run marathons, they'll take like something that's like slippery and they'll put it here, they'll put it inside their leg because their legs, they're running for so long, right? They'll get scrapes here. Or they'll put tape here because they'll bleed otherwise because the shirt just slowly rubs away, right? So chafing is like a type of scraping, but scraping is done by like a hard surface, right? Okay? And you can also like scrape like, you know, if you had like a knife and you scrape something with it, so that's scraping. Scraping is a stronger. Chafing is from just rubbing. So it's not a sharp or not a hard surface, but it's been rubbed so much that it starts to chafe. Okay? Chafe. I don't really write it that much, but I know it's like, I don't know. Hey Siri. Chafing. Yeah. Let me stop. Chafe. Chafe. Not chief. Chafe. Yeah, it keeps hearing chief. So I think it's that. Yeah, it's not a word I write very often. Okay? Chafing. So like maybe you wear a backpack and you're wearing a backpack as you go on a trip and the shoulders chafe because it's not a hard surface, but you're walking around and it rubs for so long, then you get like a red mark. Right? Okay. Other words?
I heard a song, the wind,
Beneath my
wing.
Mm.
Well, why?
You are the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that song.
Why don't he use the wing below my wing?
I think it's just below my wings doesn't mean so. If something's beneath it, I don't know. Yeah, it's a good question, but I would say beneath is just better. Probably because of the way that it sounds for the song. But also it kind of gives the suggestion that the wind is pushing up, right? So it's supporting as we're like below. It's like that doesn't give me the visualization that like the wind below my wings. It just, to me, that just sounds like the wind's really far away, right? As we're beneath it, seems like it's there holding the wings up. So, yeah, I think it's also just the sound of it for the song, probably. I know they have a similar meaning, but yeah, it's, I don't know.
Okay.
Other questions, other words? Hello, Derek, welcome back. Gina, that's all you had, just the one?
This semester I changed to full service,
Uh-huh.
serving line, and then I need as a student to turn, pay, have to put the mail in the dish. And I asked them to turn the other side.
Turn the tray around? Yeah.
So I can say, please turn the other side.
No, not turn the other side, just say,
Around.
yeah, turn your tray around.
Three around.
So turning around, right? Turn around in a circle, right? So turn around,
Sure.
okay? So you can be like, oh, please turn your tray around. Or
Okay.
can you turn your tray around for me?
Okay,
That's another way. Okay?
okay.
Others? No others?
Okay,
Focused?
yeah.
I've never seen that word. Are you sure that's the right spelling?
I'm not sure.
Maybe foggiest? Okay, so foggiest, so fog. Do you know what fog is? When like the clouds are close to the ground. I don't know, do you call them clouds or do you call it something different?
Fog.
Shaiflin? Huh?
Humidity.
Not humidity, but like fog. Ooh. Okay, so fog, right? So I don't have the foggiest idea what you're talking about. So when someone says, I don't have the foggiest idea, and then whatever else they say. Okay? So foggy, that's like, yo, so you have fog, right? So it's foggy outside. So can you see through fog? Sometimes, a little bit, right? But most of the time, if it's really foggy, no, you can't see, right? So in your brain, if your brain's foggy, you can't think, right?
Yeah.
So when you say, I don't have the foggiest idea what you mean about my computer not being, it's like, I can't see what you're talking about, right? Or I don't have the foggiest idea what time I'll be home. I have no idea, right? It could be any time. So it's like, it's kind of we call that figurative language. In figurative language, it helps us paint a picture in our mind, right? So I'm just saying, instead of me saying, I don't understand what you mean, if I say, I don't have the foggiest idea what you're saying right now, right? It paints a picture of my brain being like really foggy, I can't see, like, and it helps you to kind of visualize things, right? Like, so like if I wanted to say to Danny, I understand him, I could say, I smell what you're stepping in, right? Or like, I'm picking up what you're putting down. So it's kind of different ways, like, of saying that you understand without just saying I understand. Okay? Do you know what I mean by say I smell what you're stepping in? Do you get that? So if I step in dog poo, you'll smell it, right?
Yeah.
So I smell what you're stepping in is a way of saying I understand you. It's like saying like I know that you stepped in dog poop, but it's not saying that, right? It's using it as a way to say I understand. Okay? So hi Bridget. Okay? So it's using figurative language, right? Like using idioms. That's a type of figurative language. So there's also metaphor, right? Her eyes were blue oceans, right? It's like, oh, so romantic, right? Okay? And just saying she had really blue eyes. Well, we know the ocean is blue, and we say her eyes are blue oceans. It makes us think, wow, they must have been really blue, right? Unless someone goes, I live in Kaohsiung and the ocean's not blue. Right? Okay? So, yes.
Because the frog is not very clear.
Yeah.
And you say I don't have the foggiest idea.
Yeah.
So which means you are very clear.
No.
Because you say you don't have.
Yeah, I understand. I get what you're saying there. Okay? I get what you're saying there. I don't have the foggiest idea. But it's just the way the language is used. And that's a good point. I've never even thought of that. Because I've just heard it. I don't have the foggiest idea what you're saying, right? But yeah, that's a good idea because it's got the negative, right? So then, yeah. Maybe what you could think of it is this. Maybe that's what you could think of it as this. Is that the fog is the idea forming, right? So if you can imagine, there's no idea in your brain, and when it forms, fog comes together, and then you have the idea. Right? So I don't have the foggiest. Maybe that's why they, right? To me, it makes sense, but when you bring that up, that's a very good point because it has the don't, right? So, yeah, that's a good point. I never even thought of that. But yeah, foggiest, typically when they're using foggiest, it's just talking about confusion. Okay? Oh. Any others? Alright, did you do your homework? Did you use those phrases? Did you use those contractions? What'd you use, Danny? Huh? Gotcha? Gotcha? Okay. Wanna? Okay. See ya. Okay. Alright. So you use gotcha, wanna, see ya. Alright. Kurt, did you use it? Did you use any informal contractions?
Yeah.
What ones?
The same as I say, see you tomorrow. Maybe I say see ya.
Okay.
And I want to go somewhere. I wanna.
Okay. I wanna. Okay. Good. Just those two?
Yeah.
Alright, good. Tracy?
Next.
不能告诉我自己不会下电话。会啊，加油。Try. You didn't use one? You didn't try with the kids? I want you to try. Have more confidence. You're able to speak it. The more you speak it, the better it gets. Don't be afraid to say things wrong. Okay? Because if you just learn all this stuff and don't use it, then it doesn't get better. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. And I'm not saying that it's easy. I understand it's hard. But okay, so please try. Alright. What did you use? Did you use any? Have to.
I have to school right now.
I have to go to.
I
Have to go
have
to.
to go.
I have to go to school.
I have to go to school.
Right now. Yeah, sure. Okay. Right now, now, go.
Go.
Good job. Okay. What did you use?
Anita.
Anita.
A lot
Anita.
of word.
Okay. Any others? Or just Nita?
Anita and a lot.
Anita? No, Anita's not here today. She's absent.
Word together. A lot of.
Yeah. I need to finish a lot of work. Yep. That works. 2 birds with 1 stone. Right? What about you? What did you use? Kind of?
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of is a very common one.
Kinda.
Kind of.
Kinda.
Right? Are you busy? Kind of.
Kinda.
Right? Any others?
Should not.
Shouldn't have. I shouldn't have done that. Okay.
I should not done that again.
Okay. All right. What about you, Bridget? Did you use any of them?
Yes. A lot of.
A lot of? Okay. That's a very common one.
Yes, soba. A lot of. Soba have a lot of food.
Okay.
And another one is becha.
Betcha. How do you use betcha? You're sounding like a Minnesotan. You can come visit my home state
You
sometime.
bet.
A becha
You
not.
can.
A becha not going to hiking.
I bet you're not going to go hiking. Okay. Good. All right. Good. Now, Derek, I know you missed it last week. That's okay. Did you see the PowerPoint at all?
Yeah.
Okay. So I asked them on the red and blue, I asked them to try and use some of these. I know you weren't here, but did you understand what these are basically? It's like informal contractions. So instead of saying have to, you would say have to. Instead of saying a lot of, you would say a lot of, right? So I wanted to have them just try to use them in speaking, because it helps to speed up your speech. But for today, I wanted to talk about simple past tense and past continuous. Simple past tense is easy, right? What do you do for most of them? What do you do for simple past tense verb? For most of it. What do you do to the word? And not irregular words, just regular verbs. Add what? Ed, right? That's how most of it happens. If you have walk, it becomes past tense. Walked.
Walk.
Okay? So past continuous is a little different. Do you know what past continuous is? Was plus verb plus ing. I was walking. Okay? So a simple past, we use it for something that started and ended in the past. So it's just one time thing that happened, right? Okay? I made bacon and eggs for breakfast yesterday. So made, right? That's a irregular verb, right? Made, right?
Make.
So you're just using it because it happened once, right? Now, for repeated actions in the past, you could say, last week I asked the teacher a question. I always gave a red envelope to her, okay? That's something that maybe happens frequently, all right? Regular and irregular past simple verbs, simple past verbs. So, I talked to my uncle yesterday, ED, right? Talked. That's a regular verb, right? And then I felt sick yesterday, so I went to the doctor. Felt?
Failed.
What is that? Feel, right?
Feel.
Okay, so that's irregular. Most of those, there's no pattern to it. Some of them have some patterns that you see that are similar, but there's no rules for it. So you just have to learn what words have what, okay? So, so went is the past tense of what?
Want.
Nope.
No.
Went is the past tense of I
Go,
went to
go,
the doctor. It's
go.
the past tense of go, okay? So, that's past simple. And if you look, imagine this is the timeline, and this is now, right? Past simple, right? It just happened, right? Okay, I walked to school yesterday. John lived in Paris for 10 years, but now he lives in Rome. I bought a new car 3 days ago, okay? So, it's simple past indicates an activity that was started and ended in the past, okay? Now, if a sentence contains when and has a simple past in both clauses, so a clause is what? Group of words, right? Okay? So, if it has simple past in both clauses with when, Rita stood under the tree when it began to rain. Then you can use simple past, okay? So the action when in the when clause happened first. Do you get that? So when you're using when, what happened first? Rita stood under the tree when it began to rain. What happened first?
Began to rain.
When didn't happen first. When's not an action. That's a time, right? So when it began to rain, Rita stood under the tree. So even though we have Rita stood under the tree first, after the when is the first action, right? Because if it wasn't raining, would Rita stand under the tree? No. Okay? Well, maybe it's hot and it's in Taiwan and doesn't want the sun, right? You know, maybe. Okay? So, now, when Mrs. Chu heard a strange noise, she got up to investigate. What happened first? Heard a strange noise. So then she got up to investigate to see what the sound was. Okay? When I dropped my cup, the coffee spilled on my lap. What happened first?
I dropped my cup.
Yeah, drop my cup was the first. So when you see when with simple clauses, if there's two clauses, right? Rita stood under a tree, first clause. When it began to rain, second clause. It's a group of words that works together, okay? So whatever is the when clause is the first thing that happens, okay? Past continuous. Past continuous is also heard as past progressive. Okay? So these two when you hear about grammar, continuous or progressive, same meaning. I don't know why they do this in English. They have auxiliary verbs, but they also call them helping verbs. And it's like, just choose one name. Just call them one thing. Because then students may be, well, what about auxiliary? Yeah, same thing, right? So it's just a different name, progressive and continuous. What it means, continuous, means it's continuing to happen, right? Progressive, it's progressing to happen. Okay? So there's progress, there's movement through the action, okay? So they both mean the same thing. So past continuous. You use it to talk about when two actions in the past are happening over a period, okay? Or to talk about temporary activities. So, two activities. I was working on my homework and they were watching television, okay? So, they were happening at the same time, over a period of time, okay? So, you could also use it when you're talking about one thing that started in the past, continued for a while and ended in the past, or started in the past and continued and is still continuing. Okay? So you say, I was working on my homework. Alright? Oh, what were you just doing? I was working on my homework. Okay? Maybe they still are working on that. Okay? But then to talk about temporary activities taking over place. I was living in Tainan for 3 years. Okay? So it's one action, but it just happens over a period of time. Okay? So, simple past is just the regular ed or the irregular verb. Past continuous or past progressive is was or were plus verb plus ing ending. Okay? That's the past continuous or past progressive. Alright? ing just means that the action is taking place now or taking place over a period of time. Okay? So, if you look, it happened and started in the past and continued for a period of time, or you're talking about it in the past and it was still happening when you're talking about it, when you're emphasizing the action, not the act. Do you know the difference of what I mean? So, I walked home from school yesterday. I was walking home from school yesterday. Do you know the difference? They mean the same thing, but do you know the difference in those two sentences? I walked home from school yesterday. I was walking home from school yesterday.
Same.
It's the same meaning, but do you know what I mean by that?
Only is walking.
Yes, that's a good point. So it's talking about emphasis. Do you know emphasis? It's showing focus on something. I walked home yesterday. That's just talking about, that's just how you got home. You walked home, right? Now, I was walking home yesterday. That's talking about like the duration of walking. Like, it's talking about the action while it's happening. That's the difference. Walked home happened, right? It just happened, right? It's just, that happened. I was walking home. It's focusing on the action of walking. Like in the process of walking, right? I was walking home yesterday, right? Okay? So, yeah, so the difference is this time period is happening, right? Okay, as where walked is just, it happened already, alright? So, I was walking down the street when it began to rain. While I was walking down the street, it began to rain, okay? Rita was standing under the tree when it began to rain. At 8 o'clock last night, I was studying, okay? So here, they're emphasizing also a time in which it happens, or something else happening while that happens, okay? So, both actions occurred at the same time, but one action began at an earlier time and was in progress when the other action occurred, okay? I was walking down the street when it began to rain. What happened first? No. I was walking down the street when it began to rain. So, I was walking is the first action. When it began to rain. Okay? Now, if it's simple past, it's different. Okay? That's the difference. So, the when clause happens second when you have the past continuous. Okay? So, I was walking down the street and then all of a sudden it's like, right? Okay? Now, while I was walking down the street, it began to rain. When you have the while clause, that's what happens first. Okay? While I was walking down the street, it began to rain. Okay? Rita was standing under the tree when it began to rain. What happened first? Standing under the tree. Okay? At 8 o'clock last night, I was studying. What happened first? I was studying, and then 8 o'clock happened, right? It's not I started to study. It was I was studying. So you were already in the process of doing it. So at 8 o'clock, I had been studying, right? Okay? So, while I was studying in one room of our apartment, my roommate was having a party in the other room. Now that is two actions happening at the same time. Okay? While I was talking, Kurt was sneezing, right? Right? Okay? Happening at the same time. Okay? So, affirmative statements. Do you know what affirmative means? Affirmative also means positive. What is that? A yes, right? Okay, affirmative just means yes. Okay? So affirmative and negative statements. Yes and no statements. Okay? So affirmative, it would be subject, verb. So whether you use a regular or irregular verb, plus its complement. That's the rest of the sentence, whether it's object or it's the object and some other grammar parts, right? I played soccer last week. Okay? So, you just have the simple, right? Now, if you want to turn it into a negative statement, the subject did plus not plus the verb in its base form. Okay? Now, base form means what? Present or past tense? Present tense. So dictionary form. Why is it present tense?
Did.
Did is our past tense. Did tells us it was past tense. So we don't need to change the verb. Okay? So I did not or I didn't play soccer last week. Okay? Played, play. Right? Because did tells us happened before. So we don't need to change the verb, right? So when you have a negative, did does that for us. Questions. You do did plus the subject plus the verb. So subject plus the question word. Flop, right? The helping verb. Switch places, okay? So, did I play soccer last week? You must have got hit on the head. Not remember, right? Okay? Did I play soccer last week? Now, once again, play is the base form. Base form means just present, now, okay? So, because we have did, we don't need it to be past tense. So if you say, did I played? No, okay? Past continuous, very simple, only difference is was and were plus the verb plus ing, okay? And then here, was or were plus not, okay? Because this replaces did, okay? And once again here, same thing. Instead of did, you're using was or were,
Was.
okay? When do you use was?
He, she,
He, she,
it,
it,
I was, yeah.
Okay? I is an exception, right? Okay? Now, were you use with what? You, they, okay?
We.
Alright, good. So you understand this sentence structure, basic sentence structure, okay? I want to see if you can get this, alright? So, I want you to choose which verb tense. So you're going to choose whether it needs simple past or past continuous. And then you're going to fit it better, okay? I blank, so I didn't hear you come in. Is it A or B? Who thinks it's A? Who thinks it's B? B? Okay, it is A. I was sleeping, so I didn't hear you come in. Why do we choose A? Happens first? Okay. But you can also use simple for that as well. But it's because it was happening at the same time when they when they came in, right? So it's happening at the same time. Alright? How about this next one? I blank to see her twice, but she wasn't at home.
B, came.
Who thinks A? No one who thinks B?
B.
Yes, B. Why?
Came to see her.
No, okay. So, twice is the key here. So if an action happens once, or it happens multiple times, you can use, in the past, you can use the simple past, right? If the action is in the process of happening, right, then you need to use the was plus ing or were plus ing, okay, verbs, okay? This you're using came because twice, right? Because I didn't come here twice and go away and I'm still coming there and I came back again. No, I went there, went there. I went there again. It's 2 points in time, right? Okay? So that's why it needs to be simple. Okay? So, on that continuum, I know for simple, it just showed that, right? But if it happens frequently, simple past. Okay? I ate dinner every day last week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? I ate dinner. I was eating dinner every day last week. Okay, you were eating dinner every day last week when what happened? What else was going on? Because it's during that action, you're expecting to hear that there was something else. But instead, there were 7 times that you had dinner, so you're just saying, I ate dinner. Do you get that? Because it happened more than once. It was a recurring thing. Okay? Alright. So next one. What blank?
B. What were you doing?
Which one? Who thinks A? Who thinks B? Who thinks A? Who thinks B? You sure, Derek? Okay. Yes, it is B. What were you doing? Now, why is it what were you doing? Because what did you do? Is that a question? Yes. Okay.
Because
But what's the key that tells you? Watching. Okay.
the answer
So, watching tells us that we need to say doing.
doing.
Okay? Because what did you do would be I watched TV.
I watch TV.
Okay? Because it's just talking about a single action, right? That happened. Right? So, hey, did you talk to her? Yes, I blanked to her.
B. Talk.
I talked to her.
I talk to her.
Talk to her?
Yes, I talked to her.
What tells you that it's B, talked?
Did the
Did you talk?
Did you talk
Did you
to
talk, right? Because talk,
did you
and
talk?
did you talk, that's a question, right? And it's past tense.
Is-
So it wouldn't be talking. Because otherwise did would have been what? Were. Hey, were you talking? Right? And this would be talking.
Were you talking to her?
Okay? So if the question shows that it's simple, then your answer should be simple. Okay? If the question shows that it's progressive or continuous, then your answer is going to be progressive or continuous. Okay? Alright? Alright, let's try this again. What I want you to do is I want you can pair up or you can get into groups of 3, and I want you to write down your answers for this. Okay?
Right.
And I want you to just talk about it, okay?
From for the correct form of.
And if you want to work independently, you can work independently as well. So when it says not C, that means you need to make it a negative, okay? So you can answer with more information, okay? So just because it has those 2 words doesn't mean you only need to put I not C, okay? Because you need to make it past tense.
I didn't see it.
So if you're adding a negative and it's past, you need did plus not plus the present tense of words. So I did not what? So it would be like I not saw. That doesn't make sense. Because did makes it past tense, and then not makes it negative, and then see
While she
completes the verb tense. Okay?
did homework.
So you can choose either continuous or you can choose simple. And you only need to write the answers. Don't worry about writing the whole sentence. Why don't you each write your own answers? When you're done, turn to someone and talk to them about what answers you got and compare. And if you have different answers, talk about which one you think is right. Okay?
TV. Burger. King. While they plays loud music. King. While they playing me. didn't hurt. They didn't hurt. Here. They didn't hear because they played.
So remember, when you did was not, this one needs to be
Was barking,
based on
but nobody.
saw is past tense, right? The reason why we don't need saw here is because we have did. Did is our past tense, right? So we don't need saw, we did. Okay? So whenever you have did, you don't need to change the verb in past tense.
I
Okay?
was watching TV when my aunt was arriving.
Forgot the verb for that first part. Saw. Or see. Because you just have didn't. I
When
didn't.
Civil War.
I didn't see.
He was
Because it says
studying
not see.
when
Not.
the Civil
So
War
you have did not
was.
see. Right? So you still need see. Right? So I did not see or I didn't see. So didn't see. Didn't see. I didn't see you. I didn't see Susan. So shut up. See. Yes.
Bird,
This one's okay. I walked in the park.
burglar.
While she. So do past tense. Do is now. Before is what?
It's a very long
Do now. Future will do. Past
and
did. So not dead. Yeah. So,
Salamanca.
okay. While she did her homework,
Salamanca.
her father coming. No.
He was studying in Salamanca when the Civil War was
Not did.
beginning.
So, actually, alright. How are you doing? Doing okay? It's okay if you don't finish. I want you to work at your own pace.
I finished.
Finish? Okay. Alright. Good. Now, I'm going to talk about it. So, I want you, the first sentence, I what? I did not or didn't see. Okay? So both are okay. So didn't see Susan when I walked. Okay? Walked. Okay? So, you have, is this simple or continuous? Simple. So this needs to be simple. Okay? Now, while she doing, now, remember this needs to be past tense.
Did.
So, it could be while she did her homework, her father came home, or while she was doing her homework, her father
Was
was coming home.
coming home.
Okay? So the difference is, while she did her homework, her father came home. Okay? This one happens first. While she was doing her homework, her father was coming home. It's the same time, right? As where while she did her homework, this happens first. Okay? Do you see the difference? So if it's ing, two INGs happening at the same time. Okay? In simple sense, while action is first. Okay? Alright. So while she did her homework, her father came home. Alright? When David blanked Tom, he blank he blank at his desk.
So
Okay? So when he saw Tom, he
Didn't walk.
did not work, didn't work.
didn't work.
He,
Slept.
is that right? No, that's not right.
Not right.
So, when David saw Tom, here's the difference. Okay? This is three different ones, okay? So, when David saw Tom, okay, that was okay. Alright? Now, two things here. Talking about comparison. He was not working. He was sleeping at his desk. Okay?
But you say they must be less than.
This is different, okay? This is an exception, alright? Because this one, this is separate.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay? So this one's fine by itself. Because it's talking about the action that happened first. He saw him, right?
Yes.
Then, the action that was happening is talking about it was happening at the same time. Was not,
Wasn't working.
or wasn't working. Both are okay. Okay?
Was
He
sleeping.
was sleeping. Okay? Because if he didn't work, well, it's happening while this is happening, right? He saw him, and then these two actions were happening simultaneously. He wasn't working, he was sleeping. Okay? So that one's a little bit tricky. Alright? The burglar. Blank while they blank some loud music.
Was
Okay.
coming.
Who thinks came? Who thinks was coming? Who thinks came? Who thinks was coming?
Was coming.
Was coming? Okay. I think here it's better that you say came. Because we have the while.
Why?
Okay? So, came while they played some loud music. They blank the burglar because they blank the music too loudly. They didn't hear burglar.
Didn't hear the burger.
Didn't hear the burglar because they
Play.
so because they played, or you can even say they were playing here because we don't have a while here. Okay? So you could say they played the music too loudly, or they were playing the music too loudly. Okay? The dog
Was barking.
okay, the dog was barking.
Nobody
But nobody
was coming.
was coming. So, but nobody was coming? Does that make sense?
Nobody can.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody came. So then what do you think about this?
Barked.
Barked. Okay?
Barked.
Dog barked,
Came.
but nobody came.
Dog.
Alright?
But nobody came.
I blank TV when my aunt blank
I was watching.
Was watching TV.
was watching TV
When my
when
aunt
my aunt
was arriving.
Right.
When
TV when my aunt was arriving.
was arriving.
Bad writing because I'm running out of board space. He blank in Salamanca when the Civil War blank.
He was studying in Salamanca when the Civil War was beginning.
Yep. Beginning. Okay? Alright. Now, I want you to think about how to formulate a question either using simple past, using past progressive, and doing it in an affirmative or a negative. You can choose how you want to do it, okay? So, but that means that I can ask 4 times the same question. Now, we only got a couple minutes, so I'll choose just a few of these. What did you do at 8 p.m. yesterday? I want you to do a simple past negative sentence.
I working on. I'm work.
Not negative, so I did not.
I didn't at all.
Not didn't at home. So that would be wasn't at home. Because you're using the word to be, right? Okay? I am at home, I was at home, right? So be verb is what you have to change. So wasn't at home. Okay, good. Alright, so what did you do at 8 p.m.? I want you to do positive, simple past. So a yes statement, but simple past.
Simple.
So just an ed verb at 8 p.m.
What did you do at 8 p.m. yesterday? I slept at 8 p.m. yesterday.
Okay, good. Alright, so I want a past progressive or past continuous, so the ing one, right? Was plus ing or were plus ing.
Was.
What did you do at 8 p.m. yesterday? So you can start with at 8 p.m.
I was cooking
Okay, at
at
Was cooking at home.
8
At
8 p.m.
yesterday.
Okay, good. Alright, now negative. So was plus not. 8 p.m. yesterday. What were you not doing? Was
not
watching
TV.
TV. Okay. So, do you see the difference? I wasn't at home. I was, what did you do?
Slept.
I slept. I was cooking. I wasn't sleeping. No, watching TV. Right? Okay. So now, how did you get to school today? Simple past. Positive.
I took the bus.
Okay, I took the bus to school. Okay? So I want simple past negative. So, negative means I didn't. Do you drive a scooter?
Yeah.
Or do you drive a car?
No.
No? Okay, so talk about not driving a car. Did
I did
not.
I did not drive.
To
I
school.
did not drive car to school
today.
To school today.
Perfect. Nicely done. All right. So, did plus not plus simple. Okay. Now, past progressive. Okay. So, how did you get to school today? So, was plus a verb ing. So, I was
I was working.
walking.
Yeah.
Okay. Walking.
And go to get to school today.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Great. All right. Now we need negative progressive. Danny, I'll choose you for the last one.
How did you?
So, how did you get to school today? Yeah, negative progressive. I wasn't what?
I wasn't driving to get to school. Like,
To get to school today. Okay, good. Okay. So do you see the difference in all those forms? How they mean more or less the same thing with past tense. Okay. So, what I want you to do again this week, try and use 2 more of these. Okay? Try and use 2 more. Okay? And then I also want you to keep an ear out for 3 new words or 3 new phrases. So we can talk about those in class next week. Okay? Alright. Any questions for today? Any?
I still confused about why some sentence they have the same past sentence.
Simple or continuous? So when you're talking about the past continuous or the past simple, the simple is talking just about an action that started and ended. It happened, right? The past progressive, it started somewhere before whatever action is happening. And so it's in the process of happening.
But I don't understand why some sentence both are the past continuous.
Because they're happening at the same time. So when it's talking about both actions occurred at the same time, but one action began earlier and was in progress when the other happened. So if they're happening at the same time, but one started first, then you need to use both ing. So when you see while or as soon as, those 2 phrases, that means that something was happening and then another one happened at the same time. So when they're happening at the same time, but one started slightly before that other one happened, I was walking home when it started raining. Okay? That then is doing, it's showing that it's happening at the same time, but one was happening first. Do you see that difference for that one? And then for this one, so it shows, this one, you're using simple when it uses when.
When?
So if it's happening not at the same time, when one happens first and another one happens, you'll see the when clause. When I drop my cup, the coffee's spilled on my lap. Okay? So when you're using when, that's when you use double simple. When you use while, you're going to have double of the continuous, or as soon as.
But the next page, your first lesson, next page, your first lesson, I was walking down the street when it began.
To rain. Yeah. When it began to rain. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I see that too. So that's like contradicting the rule on the other one. And I got this out of the grammar book. Okay, what I will do is I will figure out the clarification so I don't have to keep you here longer in case you need to go home or something. And then I'll talk about it in the beginning next week. Okay? So Yeah, that seems like it's contradicting. It's showing one rule and then it shows the same thing, but then it's showing it different, because it's talking about when here, okay? So, I wonder if, actually, let me see. Okay, so here's a clarification of it. Okay. I will, I'll talk about this next time, because this clarifies it, this, and I was going to bring this up to talk about it, because I knew that confused me in the beginning, I just forgot to show you guys. So this, I can talk to you about, but it talks about after another at the same time, so if it's happening one after another, then you use simple past. If it's at the same time, then you use past progressive. And then if it's a new action or already in progress, new action, then you use simple. If it's already, if the action is in progress, you use past. So if you're emphasizing only mentioning or emphasizing, so simple, you're mentioning, right? You played, if it's emphasizing progress, yes, plan. So that's it. I'll talk about this in detail, because this I think explains the thing a little bit better than, right? So, sorry about that confusion, because I started confusing myself there, I was like, wait, I just saw this. So I'll clarify this next week. Alright, I'll clarify this next week, and I had this pulled up, I had this webpage pulled up, and I was going to talk about it, because I kind of noticed a little bit of that before I taught class. So I was looking at this, and then I just got caught up with talking about the other stuff. So in the beginning of class, I'll clarify this as to when to use each one, okay? And this one, this makes a lot more sense, right? It's more clear. I think that other one, it's a grammar book that has it. And this grammar book is like just full of stuff. And so I just needed the graph. And so I was pulling that and I was trying to think of a way to talk about the graph, but I think this is a better way to talk about it than this. So next week in the beginning of class, I'll talk about that, okay? Any other questions? No more? All right.
I gotta go.
Okay. So I don't need to hold you after. If you ever need to leave, just leave and just be like, bye, Matt.